Hi, I'm Mike from 1A Auto. We've been selling auto parts for over 30 years. We're dedicated to delivering quality auto parts, expert customer service, fast and free shipping, all backed by our 100% satisfaction guarantee. So visit us at 1aauto.com, your trusted source for quality auto parts.
Small flat blade screwdriver and pry your center cap off. Work in behind it and then just work your way around. .32mm socket and a nice big breaker bar, and you want to remove the hub nut. And now with your vehicle still on the ground, just loosen your 5 lug nuts. And they're either your tire iron or a 19mm deep socket.
Raise and support your vehicle. You'll use jack and jack stands. We do have availability of a lift.
Take your lug nuts off the rest of the way and remove your wheel and tire.
Make sure your axle is free, and this one just pushes nice and easy. You don't want to hit the axle a lot with a hammer, because you can mess up your CV joints. But a lot of times, if it is just stuck, one good hit with a hammer will break it free, and then you can push on it. Turn your wheels to get access to the back side, and you'll want to remove the bolts that hold your caliper in place. These bolts are 17mm. You want to use a good sized ratchet with some leverage. Use a large screwdriver. You just want to pry the piston out a little bit, which will help you remove the caliper. The more you pry this out, the more it sets your pistons back in. And we'll take this and we will secure it with a bungee so it doesn't fall down and stress our lines. We're going to remove this sensor bracket, which is the bolt is 8mm. Take that out there, pull this from this clip here, and also hold firmly on that clip and pull that out there. The ABS sensor connects right under the hood, right underneath the back of the air cleaner box. Right here, probably can't see it very well, but there's just a little tab. Push on the tab and disconnect. And once you disconnect it, just pull it through. Pull the lead out and down and free. And now we'll move these two 21mm bolts that hold the caliper bracket onto the steering knuckle. And again, you'll want a good sized bar for some leverage. And once those bolts are out, your caliper bracket and shoes come out. You can also take the brake pads out of here before you reassemble. If need be, you can contact what I usually do is hit the rotor from the front just to break it loose, and because you want to be careful, if you're going to hit it from the back, you don't want to put any dents or dings in it and make it unusable. It's a good idea to consider a new set of brakes from 1A Auto at this point as well. 3 15mm bolts hold the hub in from the back. You'll see 2 here, and there's another one on the front. And we're going to use a 3/8 15mm, an extension, and a ratchet, and break those free. Just turn your wheels so you can get to that front bolt. And that last bolt comes out. Now, for some reason our hub is coming out easily. You know, pull your harness from here. Many times you'll have to use a hammer, hit it from the back side where it's clear here, and bring it out. I'm gonna use some brake parts cleaner and really clean up the hub or the steering knuckle before I install the new one. Original hub here on the right, new hub from 1A Auto. They're all exactly the same. ABS sensor goes in the same. All the mounting points are exactly the same. And the connector's the same. The harness has all the same grommets and moldings to mount the same way. Before we put the new one on, we're just going to put a thin layer of grease, even though you'll probably never have to replace it again. If you do, it'll come apart. And put it on with the ABS sensor kind of towards the back top. We'll put it on the axle. Push it in, and we'll start one of the bolts in. And we'll put a little thread lock on the bolts before we put them in. And now we'll use our socket and ratchet and tighten these up evenly. You don't want to tighten one all the way and then the other ones, bring that one in a little bit, go to the top one, and just keep working your way around. And torque these bolts to 90 foot-pounds. Just be careful that you don't damage your CV boots. All right, now attach our ABS sensor. Put the armor into that clip. This comes up here. Attaches on here. The little ear should go in there, and then the bolt goes through. And keep going up. And that clips in there. Ours has a new clip for here, so we'll pull that out and put the new clip in. And keep running it up through here. Find your sensor, pull it up through, and feed it between the AC hoses and through. Make sure it's not touching your engine. And reconnect it. Brake rotor from sticking to it too much, in case you need to get it apart again. Okay, again, great time to consider new brakes from 1A Auto, but if you're putting your old brakes on, make sure you wire brush, try and clean that out a little bit so it goes on nice and easy over the hub. And then we'll put a lug nut on just to hold things in place. Great to install new brakes and slides, but if you're not, at least clean up the slides with a brass brush before installing the caliper brackets. Go ahead and install the bracket. Put some thread locker on the bolts. Feed them in and start them. And then we're going to tighten these up and torque them to 122 foot-pounds. gonna put some caliper brake grease on the slides. Careful not to get it onto the rotor itself. Inside and out. Great time for new pads from 1A Auto, but if you're installing your old ones, make sure you grease the contact points. And then the one with the 2 circles will be your inner pad. And then the pad that has kind of the M shape on it is your outer pad. And make sure that your slide pins are nice and free. If they're not, you can pull them all the way out, clean them, and grease them before you put it back together. And we'll take our bungee cord off, carefully lower the caliper down. And if you were installing new brakes, you need to press your pistons back into the caliper. Use a C-clamp and an old pad. Press them back in. We're reinstalling our old pads, so just put it down on. 4-bolt pin. And these are designed so that there's a flat spot on the slide that slides right in there and holds it in place while you tighten it. Make sure that the slide is nice and flush against the caliper. You don't want it to look like that. You want it to look like that. And torque the bolts that go into the caliper to 53 foot-pounds. And remove your lug nut. Start your 32mm nut on, and you can tighten it preliminarily. Best to have a new one, but you can reuse your old one. Put your wheel and tire back in place. And start on your lug nuts and tighten them preliminarily. And we'll tighten our lug nuts to 100 foot-pounds using a star pattern. And we'll tighten our center nut to 184 foot-pounds. And replace the center cap.
Thanks for watching. Visit us at 1aauto.com for quality auto parts, fast and free shipping, and the best customer service in the industry.